Okay, so I got a few questions about this, and I figured today would be a good day to go over it because the weather is terrible. So, winter fronts. You guys, there was a couple people that asked about the cardboard piece that I have over this. So this was basically my cheap way of doing a winter front on my 2004 Ram. Basically it helps keep the temperature, you know, up to where it's supposed to be. Without that, it was idling at like 167 degrees. So you can actually get a custom like grill cover from the factory on these trucks, but they're fairly expensive. So instead of doing that, we went with a piece of cardboard here, which obviously is going to need to be replaced after the season's over. But basically this just keeps the airflow from going into the radiator, which allows you still have a little bit of room outside of it. Basically, you don't want to block it all off. But if you look at, say, you know, if you've ever seen these semis going down the road, you'll notice a couple of them have certain, like, you'll see something on the grill that looks like it's kind of restricting the flow, or a decorative piece or whatever. Basically what it's called is a winter front. Now this is a great way on these older trucks or people that are living in environments that are a lot colder, usually down to like 20-30 degrees. You know, you can run these trucks all day without an issue. But if you're like me in the transportation industry, like I'll idle overnight, and it's also an older truck or an older engine. It's out of a 96. So on this one, I definitely want to do that to keep it warmed up. Now it idles at around like 195, and it doesn't overheat going up any of the hills either. It's something that I recommend for you guys if you are going to be under, like, say 20 degrees. So like you guys can see there is a couple 4th generation 5500s. They also make them for those year trucks, and I'm pretty sure you can get them for the 5th generations, but it's something I don't recommend it if, like, it's one of those things you can pull it off really quickly. I don't recommend it if you're not getting under, like, say that 30 degrees or whatnot. But these older trucks have a lot harder of a time warming up and staying warm, whereas a lot of the newer trucks, they have the emissions components and everything that you're not supposed to take off. So you really don't need to worry about it on those trucks until it gets, you know, down close to the single digits. Then I would recommend running one, but then once it starts coming back up to like 20-30 degrees, I would say take it off, especially if you're pulling. They're designed to let some airflow through, and not restrict it completely. I experimented with mine a bunch with this piece of cardboard up here. I put it on the radiator directly, and it would get way too hot way too fast, and it would actually get like 220 just cruising. So I did have to take that off, and then I slowly started moving it. I put it in between, and then I just put it in front of the condenser, and now it seems to be working great. I have heat throughout the night. I have heat while I'm driving. So it's just one of those things. I do highly recommend it if you are, you know, it's basically one of the ways to get you through the winter and have heat and keep your diesel running at an efficient rate. Something that a lot of people don't understand is basically, you've probably heard the term the 180 thermostat, your 195 thermostat, your 190 like people throw that out all the time, depending on like what thermostat. On a gas vehicle, you want to throw a 180 thermostat in it because it makes it run better. Well, on a diesel, that's completely opposite. So in my case, a 180 was the stock thermostat that came with this engine. I was able to find a 195 from a big block that fit all of what it needed to be able to put it in this truck. So now I have a 195 thermostat, which helps greatly to keep it up, and it also is a lot more efficient, and it gets better fuel economy. So the hotter you can get these trucks to the engine to run to a point, around 200 degrees is about your happy median, like in between 195 and 210 is about where the engine is happy. You're running it down without a winter front and with a 180 thermostat, and you're really just you're losing fuel economy, and you're just losing a lot of efficiency. Basically, the engine is not running to where it needs to. You're going to get more buildup. It's not really all that good for it. So yeah, that answers that question on why I have that piece of cardboard behind my truck. I've gotten questions about it, just in general, and strangers have asked me why is that there. People on the comment section have asked me. I've had people message me and ask me. So basically, that goes over everything about why I have a piece of cardboard stuck in my grill. So let's talk about the pros and cons of a winter front, because there's a lot of people that don't run them. There's a lot of people that don't even know what they are. So two cons that I can think of is, one, it's one extra thing that you have to carry around with you. Can be a nuisance because you already carry around a lot of other stuff. And then two, you need to pay attention to the weather outside. In my case, I just leave it on full time right now through the winter time because it really doesn't matter. I have a really efficient cooling system for the engine that I put in it. So you need to pay attention to the weather outside and take it off when the weather comes up to a certain degrees. So it can be a nuisance to put back on when it starts snowing or whatnot. So it's best just to be over prepared with it. But those are the two cons I can think of. Now the pros, it will definitely help you warm the truck up faster. If you're one of those people that don't want to, you don't want to plug your truck in and you just want to let the thing sit outside in high idle, that's something. You just want to let the truck sit out in high idle and you don't want to have, no plug-in or anything like that. So it will definitely warm up a decent bit quicker, blocking some of that off. Now again, you don't want to block off the whole thing like I did with the cardboard on the radiator itself. Like I said, they do make you can get it from you should be able to get it from the dealership. If somebody wants to let me know where they got theirs down in the comments, that would be great. But like eBay and a couple other places, that's one good thing, is faster warm-up times. And it will also stay warmed up, as opposed to my truck, whereas if I'd start idling it, back when I had the 180 thermostat in it from the factory, it would go down to like 130, 140 degrees. Like it would not physically warm up at all. So that was a super added benefit of the winter front, even with the 180 thermostat. Now it would only get up to like 180, 170, like around that area, but it was still warmer. Now with the 195 in it, it'll actually stay up to the temperature that it's supposed to be, and I'll have heat. Like right now I have decent heat, and in the winter time there's a lot of these older trucks. There goes a semi with one. There's a lot of these older trucks that physically just will not warm up in general. So like I said, I was one of them. So even older semis, like just start taking notice to semis having covers on their grills and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Those are the pros and cons. Actually, a third con that I can tell you is they are pretty pricey. They're very pricey. On these older trucks, you can get away with the cardboard. On the newer trucks, I 100% recommend you just order one from the dealership or on eBay. Spend the $100 or $200 or $300, whatever they cost, instead of using the cardboard, because it's just, these older trucks are easier to just mess around with, whereas the newer ones, they get a little pricey when you mess with them the wrong way and you break them. So before I end this video off, there is two disclaimers that I want to make about doing the winter front on these trucks, whether you use cardboard or an actual winter front. The first thing I want to say is, when you are cold starting these trucks, you should be plugging them in regardless. Even though it seems like, yeah, it can start in this weather, it does definitely help to prolong the life of the engine. Plugging it in for 3 hours is what I recommend before you decide to start driving. I usually run a cord out to my truck and then I'll plug it into the house, leave it there unplugged, so that in the middle of the night, if I want to get up and say, hey, I'm going to leave in 3 hours, I'll get up and plug it in. Also, it keeps the neighbors happy because I don't have to cold start the truck and let it sit there and fucking black and make a bunch of noises, and just it sounds god awful when you start it. So that's the first thing. Always plug it in and run your grid heaters or low plugs if possible. The second thing is, on the new trucks, the reason why I don't recommend doing the cardboard method is because they run hotter in general, whether it's your trans temps, your oil temps, your coolant temps. Everything seems to run right around 200 to 210 degrees, which is already pretty damn hot. So if you start blocking coolant flow, or you start blocking flow to the radiator and all of those coolants with a piece of cardboard, you're gonna be asking for trouble. Whereas they make a specific winter front for these trucks. I definitely recommend getting the correct winter front. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something. If you guys have any other topics, let me know down in the comments below. I got plenty of time to film these videos for you guys. And yeah, Safe travels. See you guys in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, do what you do. Appreciate you. Have a good one.